Hello, and welcome. This is Admiral's Academia. I'm Admiral Ann Cash. Most folks just call me Admiral. Today's class is on burnout and volunteer fatigue. Just a couple of standard housekeeping things. For those attending this tonight, please feel free to go onto the Nine Blades Discord and grab yourself a credit for the event. We have the link available in chat. So go ahead and click on that. Our Discord is operated just like any other kingdom with the attendance bot, so feel free to just sign in as you normally do in your own respective kingdoms. You can also sign in any channel. It doesn't have to be any channel in particular. But for this class, I will be checking out the Nine Blades scheduled event text channel. So throughout this, if you have any questions, you can either send me messages through the Nine Blades scheduled event or through the Twitch chat here. So either way, all good. Please feel free to ask questions at any point. I will be stopping after each slide just to check in and make sure that I'm getting to all of your questions. I'll only hold off on answering if I'm about to answer in the next thing, or it's definitely going to be covered in the class. So other than that, we'll have a nice open section at the end for just an AMA style question thing, if there's any specific thing that you want advice on, or if you have any questions, or if there's anything that you'd like me to go a little deeper into, or anything of that nature. So, other than that, if y'all can hear me and see me okay, and you guys are good to go, then we will start. Okay. Let's go. Okay, so first and foremost, we need to know what this actually is about. So, what the simplest form of this that I can express is in these three specific things. Burnout essentially is emotional exhaustion, ineffectiveness, and cynicism. It is possible for you to go throughout your AmpGuard career and experiencing these things at different times. You can experience these things and them be less severe also, which they are just phases. Sometimes you just need to sleep on it. Sometimes you need to just vent or even just have something explained, and it can help significantly, and you're not necessarily at the full stage of burnout, as it were. So a lot of this specifically is the combination of all the three, it being for a prolonged amount of time, and for it to be very, very negatively affecting you. Okay, so let us move on. So, it is important to understand who this affects, because a lot of people will think that this is just officers, for instance. Folks that are in a high-stress situation, again, for long periods of time. The important thing to understand that this can happen to any AmpGuarder at any point, and for various reasons, which we will go further into. So, things to consider. Folks that are officers, yes, absolutely, that's a big one. Folks that are crats for events, this can be a thing as well. Especially if they crat often, going from one event to the next. Volunteers in general, just across the board. Folks that are on the flame path, you know what I'm talking about. This is big for volunteering across the board. And for those that are working on things like their ladder path, masterhood, paragon, knighthood, things like that, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth on the burnout with personal self stuff versus volunteer fatigue, which is more of an outward thing. And again, I will go a bit more into detail about that. Okay, moving right along. It is important to understand when these things can happen. Again, this can happen at any point, it can happen a shorter amount of time, or it can take years to happen. But things to keep an eye on, I'm going to say, is, after long rains, after multiple events, multiple field days, after a tournament, after court is a big one, and when rumor mills and gossip begin to fester, as it were. So again, it's one of those things where you'll start noticing folks will make certain comments, or they will start disengaging from folks. Those are usually red signs. When a term ends, that's usually a sign. When an event ends, or a series of events, or after a whole bunch of fields where like one person is running field like every single time and is not getting any other help. That's when you'll start seeing those red flags go up. So it's important to just, again, be cognizant of kind of when these things can sort of come to a head, as it were. Again, we're just going to be moving right along, so again, if at any point you have any questions or want me to go a little bit in depth more about things, please. Also, if you could tag me, that'd be awesome. It'll just be easier for me to find your questions so that I don't miss anything. Again, if you can do so in the Twitch chat right here or on the Nine Blades Discord. Either one is perfectly fine. Okay, these are pretty easy, self-explanatory things. Where these things can happen. Again, going more along the line of the sort of the timeline of when these things can happen. You can see this happening at events or directly after them. Again, field days, you might see somebody storm off field, or again, retreat, disengage from others, leave for long periods of time. More red flags. Online, this is a huge thing right now, because that's basically all we have right now. So we're seeing this a lot right now. This can be done. This could be a very, very public thing. This could, or it could be done in private. Again, a lot of times what you're going to see is, okay, I'm going to be going into it in like, I think like the very next slide. But there are red flags. There are just absolutely red flags, and it's important to recognize where these things are happening. Sometimes folks think that they'll only happen here or there, but there's, for instance, when a court finishes, you might hear specific individuals get very upset when they don't receive an award, or somebody receives an award that they don't feel was earned. That's where you're going to start seeing that sort of cynicism, and that's where the downward spiral into that emotional exhaustion, and going further and further, right? You'll notice certain signs as you go. Okay, so this is going to be the big chunk of it here. Also, throughout the class, if you've ever been to one of mine before, remember to hydrate. So, drink along. Okay, so there's two main things that I want to cover here, which is burnout versus volunteer fatigue. Volunteer fatigue is very similar to burnout, and you're going to notice that there's some parallels between the two. But there are some significant differences, so I do want to specify and kind of break them up a little bit. So burnout is typically a thing more along the lines that you're going to see in yourself. This is a very personal thing. It's mostly going to be about your specific perception and your relationships with the game and with others in the game. So we're just going to break this down a little bit more. Things that can lead to someone's personal burnout. Lack of validation. This can happen through being overlooked. Again, if somebody's doing a lot of work and they are not receiving any awards, no one is nominating them for things, officers are not noticing that they're doing any work, and also this could come also from lack of support from mentorships, right? If you're a knight or a noble and you have somebody belted to you, and when they do stuff you don't acknowledge them, you don't pay attention to the things that they're doing, and you don't tell them that they're doing a good job, this can start festering into that whole beginning, or sometimes the end of a burnout. Low self-esteem and self-worth. This is a big one. It becomes a thing to where when you are overlooked or you do not receive an award for something, you start seeing that as yourself not being enough, that you aren't good enough, that you're not worthy, that you're not worth anything, that you couldn't achieve it, that you'll never achieve it, and then you start doing that downward spiral. Sorry, real quick. There we go. I want to make sure I'm not going to miss any of the Discord stuff. There we go. So it's going to be very, very important that you can separate the awards from your own self-value. I would also like to say at this point, depression and burnout are not the same thing, but burnout can lead to depression. It's going to be very important that you can recognize the difference between the two. One can be a quicker recovery and something that is temporary. The other one, you may need more assistance. You might need therapy. You might even need medical intervention, right? The biggest thing is if you feel that the things that we're covering in this class, if you are feeling something far more extreme than this, consider seeking help. Understand also that what we're going over in this class today is tips and advice. They are not the equivalent of a medical professional. So take what you're getting from this class with a grain of salt. And again, please make sure you talk to somebody if you need that. I just want to make that very, very clear before we go on. So the next part of this burnout thing is the inability to achieve goals. This can be done through having unrealistic expectations. If you are trying to go too big too soon, if you are trying to make a million things in a very small amount of time and have them all be perfect and all be big and grand, and you're not giving yourself time. If you are taking on an enormous amount of responsibility and you don't have what we refer to as spoons to be able to mentally and physically handle those things. If you're running yourself into the ground just saying yes to everybody, and expecting everything to get done and everything to be done top notch at as high as you are able, but you're not giving yourself the time that you need, unrealistic expectations can lead to you not achieving your goals. Now, there's going to be also some times where this can be inexperienced officers. This will be things like, again, the overlooking thing. Some folks may not know that something is worth something, and they will specifically not give an award out when an award is like more than justified. But it's just a matter of they haven't been experienced in it. They don't really understand the award track and sort of how the system works. And what is or is not appropriate for specific levels, or they don't ask, right? I guess sort of side tip for those that are new to office or in higher offices than they're used to being in. If you are unsure about an award, if something is appropriate for a specific level, you can always ask. Knights especially really have a strong idea of kind of an understanding of how the ladder works and how masterhood and obviously knighthood work. So if you're unsure, I bet you can go to pretty much any knight in your kingdom and they'd be able to help you out, either themselves or be able to direct you to somebody that would know. Other folks that have a lot of experience in office, right? Crown Knights, Master Crowns, things like that. Folks that have been in kingdom level office, they're going to be good resources for you. The biggest thing is it's perfectly fine to ask. It is expected. It is not a mark of like you not knowing what you're doing or like oh no, I don't want them to know that I don't know that, right? It's more concerning if you don't ask and you didn't know than you going and actually getting a second opinion. I will tell you that even knights, even folks that have been monarch for kingdoms a million times, will still ask for a second eye, right? They'll still ask for advice. They'll still ask for a second opinion. So please understand that that's very much a valid thing that a lot of folks do and should do, and it is encouraged. So going further onto that is misinformation and perception. I have been visiting a lot of kingdoms throughout this pandemic, which is the silver lining I'm going to say about this is being able to visit each other and learn different kingdoms' cultures and get to meet new people, which has been fantastic. But there's also specific things that I see that seem to be everywhere in this game, which is misinformation and issues in perception. I remember there was one place not too long ago that I visited where there was an individual that basically went on this whole entire thing about how do I explain? They felt that there was no chance that they would ever be a knight because they weren't one yet. And that the government clearly hates them. They don't know them. They don't care about them because they weren't a knight. And there were a few knights there. So that was a red flag going, oh, hey, what's up with that? That seems like there's something off. So we started looking into it, and the individual was only at like their 5th, and they'd only been playing for a couple of years. Going through and explaining how the ladder works is important, because if you just always, as a new person, come into this game and just are told, oh yeah, no, it's just, knighthood's just a thing that happens with time. Knighthood is just a buddy hookup. It's only if they like you that you'll become a knight, right? Like that common misconception trope, which runs rampant literally in every kingdom. That is every kingdom. It's just a lack of understanding of how the system works and how the ladder works, how masterhood, how knighthood, all of that works. But that sort of thing can lead to that cynicism, which then can lead to the emotional exhaustion, right? Because you don't have any direction. You don't know what you're trying to achieve, right? If you're just going out and doing a very small, low-level thing, maybe at like Shire level or something, where you're expecting to be just handed a knighthood at the next thing. You're just like, oh, I've been doing a lot of volunteer work. But you're doing, like, you're running 2 Hero Forever in your park, and right, and expecting a 10th and a masterhood, right? That's not realistic. So understanding what things are appropriate for what levels, right? Having direction of knowing what type of work will get you to your next order is very, very important. And when you don't have that information, you can get into your own head very easily. And then again, right, you're gonna do that self-fulfilling prophecy. You're gonna start getting to that self-esteem issue. You're going to need validation, and you're not going to receive it. And it spirals out from there. So it's important that if you are getting in a rut, that you ask questions, because there's a lot of times very clear and sometimes very simple answers to why you're not progressing and you're not achieving those goals. Excuse me. A lot of folks just don't ask, and they just go, I don't know what I'm not doing wrong. Like, I don't know. And they just, that's it. They just stop there. I've seen this happen a lot with folks on their Paragon pushes. And sometimes it's a thing also where folks will be given advice, and they'll be given feedback, and they won't take it. They will just think that they know better, and that the advice is not worth it to them, and then they just keep doing the same thing and not understanding why nothing is happening, right? I believe like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. I don't believe that's the actual the quote of what actual definition of insanity is, but it's a quote. Essentially, when you are doing the same exact thing and you're not getting higher in your paths, there's a clear reason why. So again, if you're talking with folks, especially right in this case, go literally to the person that would be giving out that award, because they're going to be able to give you far better direction, right? Even for folks that are knights that have students under them, right, or the squires or nobles or anyone who can, take beltlings, or even folks that are just take folks under their wing and mentor them and coach them, whatever the case might be. It is quite possible that they can give them good and valid advice and it still not do it, because the person that is handing out the award has a very different specific thing in their mind that they're looking for. So it's important that when you start hitting that wall, and we'll go a little bit further into this when we get to the how, it's going to be very important that you actually go to the source, right? Figure out exactly what their expectations are, so that you can have realistic expectations. But communication is going to be everything. Okay, and perception, right? I want to go a little bit further into perception. I find a lot of times that perception, especially when it comes to this sort of thing, a lot of times it will be stronger in smaller groups and for folks that don't travel outside of their park. For me, I think the biggest eye-opener was going to Keep. At the point, I was already a knight, but going to Keep blew my mind. It was 1,000 people at an event, and the most I've ever seen at that point was like 200 people. So just the thought that many amp guarders could exist in one space at a time was just like, wow, right? Which was fantastic and amazing, and I needed it. I needed that to understand. And being around folks that are from other kingdoms, I think a big thing that folks don't realize is the game is played differently in different parks, in different kingdoms. There's different cultures. How awards are handled, and the difference of expectations can be drastically different. I became very aware of this when Wunjo's Paragon Academy was created. There was a point where all the Paragons were meeting each other and discussing things, and we would then find out the different standards each kingdom had for achieving Paragonhood. And for some kingdoms, it was a heck of a thing, like really, really difficult, extremely high expectations, and it was just like brutal. Brutal. But in other kingdoms, it would be like the equivalent of passing your 6th level class test. Just like, you know your class, here's your Paragonhood. Which was mind-blowing to me. So it's important to understand that things are done very differently outside of your circle. What you see is only what you see. And to understand what's happening in the rest of your kingdom, even, let alone the rest of, international Amtgard, it's going to take you getting outside of your bubble, talking with others, meeting others, and learning more about the game and the atmosphere and the players, and the system as a whole. It's definitely one of those things where if you become a big fish in a small pond, you're gonna get to a point to where you're not going to be able to achieve your goals, because you won't have a full grasp of what you need to be achieving and what it will take to achieve that. If you are in a small, tiny shire, there's only 5 of you there, and you're expecting to be a knight with only 5 people, that's going to be extraordinarily difficult. So again, if you're just being told, oh, it's just the thing that happens with time, if you just care enough, it'll happen, if you're liked enough, it will happen, right? These common tropes that are repeated over and over again. Just that perception issue in misinformation. That can get into your head really, really badly, and that's where that cynicism is gonna hit you really, really hard. And it's going to make it very, very difficult for you to have attainable goals, and will lead to burnout. Okay, so part 2. Mental, physical exhaustion. Stress can do really bad things to your body, your mind, and your physical body. It is extremely important that you are very self-aware of your health in both respects, mental and physical. That you watch out for the warning signs, and that you are not doing something that is impeding your health. I cannot stress this enough. There are some folks that will push themselves to hospitalization, where they'll be on a field having a heart attack during an event, because they won't drink water, they won't eat food, they won't sleep. They will be just push, have to serve others, have to get the job done, have to not let people down, and the next day they're in the hospital. There is a point to where you need breaks, where you need to maintain a good and stable status of health, as it were. So that's a gigantic red flag. It's not just for burnout. That's just across the board, make sure you are okay health-wise before doing really anything in this game. There's a lot of folks like myself that have chronic illness and chronic pain, and for us, we will always be in a state of flux. But for us, we are also hyper aware of what we can do, what is too much, and how to recover from said states, and not to, again, spend spoons you don't have. So beyond the things that were previously mentioned, right, the above points plus overworking, which again can get into that mental, physical exhaustion point. Hello. This is my cat trick. I just get distracted when it goes. Okay. Being overwhelmed and being surrounded by negativity. If you are around folks, there we go, that just are in a constant state of complaining about the game, everything's terrible, our volunteers are terrible, no one's working hard enough, everyone is not talented enough, no one has standards. Like, if you're just constantly surrounded by negative stuff, folks that cannot stop talking about rumor mills and starting rumors and gossip and all of that, that's not going to help your emotional state. That is very hard to be in a positive, productive mind space if you are constantly just surrounded by negativity. It will fester, it will sink in. It's extremely hard to stay positive when you are surrounded by that. Overwhelmed. When folks are taking on more than they can handle. There is an extreme difference between keeping busy, the thing I like to call controlled chaos, where you can handle multitasking, you can do a lot of things, and it's good, it's positive for you. It's something where it's keeping you going, you're excited to be productive, and you're doing things, you're helping folks, and you're getting stuff accomplished. You're progressing on your path, you're becoming better at your skills, right? Improvement, productivity, all of that, that's not necessarily like a bad thing. Pressure is not a bad thing inherently. There's a certain amount of pressure that's actually good. It's the fire under your bum, right? The things that motivates you. Motivation is a great thing. It's when that pressure becomes too much, where that pressure becomes overbearing and overwhelming. Is when you've got to, pull on the reins a bit and go, okay, how can I manage this? Am I taking on too much? Right? It's those moments where you've got to just, again, watch out for the red flags. When you start going into, mental exhaustion, you're going into cynicism, you're going into that territory, and your work is going to slip, right? You're taking on so many things that you can do everything a little bit, but you're not doing everything the best you can. It's not up to your personal standards and what you're able to do. It's just bare minimum, barely passing, or half done, or sometimes not at all. When you can't finish, right? Where you start dropping the ball, or you start just like passing the buck and making everyone else do your stuff for you. That's when you're getting burnout. Yeah. Okay. So, the next slide is going to be just a important reminder, because this is a thing that I cannot stress enough. Take a minute, absorb this, remember this, scream it from the hilltops, from the mountains, until you're blue in the face, Your awards do not equate your worth. This is the one thing that I can almost guarantee will cause you burnout, because this is the number one thing I see with burnout of personal self. It's this. 15 years I have watched this destroy people. I have watched this burn people out to the point of extreme mental distress, to having to leave the game forever, to becoming a very, very hurt, bitter, jaded individual. This. I cannot express this enough. They are pieces of paper at the end of the day. I know that's hard to think about, and I know that's, coming from a knight, yeah, I'm sure that sounds just like, oh, well, you have it, so it's not. I get it. I understand. But I will tell you that there was a point where I didn't understand this on my path up to there. And it hurt. And it took me to bad places. Learn from my mistakes. These are not your worth. Remember that when you are creating something, when you are performing a task, when you are serving others, when you are leading, that's the reward. That's the award itself. You will see it when you go up to court and you hear "about damn time." So very well deserved. You will hear it when folks go, "They didn't get anything for that?" They will go, "This is the most impressive thing I've ever seen." That's worth more than any piece of paper that you can be given. Because there's also going to be moments where folks are going to get that piece of paper and they're going to go, "Really? You don't ever want that." If you don't feel like you've earned a thing, if you get a thing and it doesn't feel right and you don't have the respect of your peers, a piece of paper isn't anything. What you're looking for is self-validation. What you're looking for is feeling proud of your accomplishments. What you're looking for is making something or doing something and having that moment where you just go, "I did good. I really did good. This was the best I could do. And I feel good about it." That is the award you should be trying to achieve. When you have folks that respect you and folks that turn to you for advice, that is better than any piece of paper you will ever receive in this game. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Your words do not equate your worth. Okay, more positivity. Whoosh, whoosh. Okay, so that's burnout. Again, a lot of that is personalized stuff. That is things that you are doing that very much affect you personally, and it's a lot of your own perceptions and the things that you do that affect you. Volunteer fatigue is going to have some parallels, but there's some differences. And a lot of volunteer fatigue is going to be things that other people are going to be doing that affect you. So again, we're going to take a quick hydration break. Everyone drink along. Okay. And keep the mood up in jolly. Everyone that's in chat right now, type a word that you think sounds very funny. Just an amusing word. Just kerfuffle. Kumquat. Any random word that you think is an amusing word. Throw it in chat. Why? Just because. It's important to be moist. Ugh. Cantankerous. Oh, that's a good one. I like that. Kerfuffle. See, I love that kerfuffle. Spadoinkle! Spadoinkle! Why, Amtgard? Why would you spadoinkle us? Excellent. This is good. Good, solid feedback here, folks. This is excellent. This is everything I've always wanted. Yes. Also, an important thing for Burnout. Have fun. Honestly, sometimes just don't take things so seriously. Remember to enjoy the little things. And, kerfuffle's a word. Enjoy that word. It's just okay. Back in. Now we're gonna get into volunteer fatigue. So, again, this is gonna be a lot of things where somebody's gonna do stuff and the response or the things that others are doing are going to negatively affect you to the point of you having volunteer fatiguing and you not wanting to do the thing anymore. So, overworked. Things like a lack of breaks, right? If you are just constantly being tapped for things, you get no time off whatsoever. You're just given one thing after another, and you just don't have time to breathe. That can get into that. Overwhelming workload kind of gets into the same sort of thing, but sometimes it can be the amount of work and even a singular task. It's just like sometimes you'll get jobs where it's like a multi-person team thing, and it will all be on your shoulders, and you'll end up doing every aspect of that position, that job, with zero help whatsoever. And sometimes that can be because no one else is hired, or no one else is willing to volunteer, and you're the only one, and all of a sudden you are steering a sinking ship by yourself. You're doing the best you can, but gosh, it's bringing it down. Unrealistic expectations. This is when other people have unrealistic expectations of you. They expect you to do something that would normally be done by a 10-person team, and it is all on your shoulders, and they're like, get it done by the weekend, and you're just like, how? There's not enough hours in the day. That's the thing. It is important that if you are in a position where you are hiring volunteers, that you do not expect things of them that are unrealistic. You should not expect things that they can't handle, things that they don't agree to, things that they're not comfortable with. Communication is a huge thing in this. Because some people, on the other hand, can take on an absurd amount of things, and their multitasking and organizational skills are kind of nonsense. And for folks like that, it's not too much work, and it's not overwhelming. Diamonds in the rough. It's pretty, it can be very rare, but there's some folks that are absolutely legit that and have no issues. I know a few myself. I'll be honest, I'm kind of one of those people. I like to just do lots, but that's also because I have an absurd amount of free time. So that's another thing to understand. Which I think it's in the second slide for this. Underappreciated. This goes into lack of support and direction. When you are, again, you're getting somebody to be a volunteer, and you don't give them any direction. You don't lay out what you expect of them, what you want them to do. Be very clear with what you're volunteering for, right? If they're just like, yeah, I just need a volunteer for just like online stuff. Just do like the online stuff. Just, stuff. What is that? That could be anything. That could be absolutely anything. That's very, frustrating, because if they knew exactly what they needed to do, they had a timeline, they had a very specific direction, they knew what to do, when to do it. If they needed to hire on more people, if they needed to be basically like a team lead and also get more folks on board, they need to know that. If you're a volunteer that is in a position that gets a bunch of those, yeah, you're gonna hit that fatigue wall. You're just gonna get so frustrated and just like constantly like, I can't get anything done. They don't even care that I'm doing it. They're just telling me just do a thing. So they have no idea what it is themselves. Which again, I think is the next slide. Cursed second slides. That all starts just starting that nosedive. Wash those red flags. Lack of support also, right? Again, sometimes it will be a thing of, I need more people, I need a team, and they're like, yeah, we don't have that, so that's just you. Okay, can you help me out with no, I'm not really feeling it today, right? Oh no, I gotta do this. Oh, I can't help you because I want to go out and hang out with my buds. But you're gonna drop all of that on somebody else, right? You gotta support your volunteers. If they need specific materials, if they need specific time, if they need help from the treasury, right? Don't have a volunteer and just be like, so we want you to run all of the battle games and quests for this event. Oh, but we're also not gonna give you a budget. And we're not going to give you a team, and no one's going to make stuff. So we're going to expect you to make all of the props and materials, and also go out and purchase all of your own stuff to perform this thing. That's not supporting your volunteers. Okay. Underappreciated. No, I'm running on it. Sorry. Negative feedback. That's where we're at. Negative feedback. Okay. So this is when you're working your butt off, and folks are still complaining about how they want things done. That it could have been better, it should have been better, where you're doing your best and you're just getting knocked down. Oh, well, I would have had it done by this date, right? Oh, well, if I was doing it, I could have done it like this. Or, like just digging at people unnecessarily. Just doesn't need to be happening. Just cutting people down, just being mean-hearted. That's never necessary. And folks that are volunteering and doing their best and giving their blood, sweat, and tears, heart and soul into a thing, and you nitpick and criticize them, they're not going to want to keep doing it. That is a negative headspace that no one needs. Right? You'll see this with officers too. When folks will just, they'll like complain to everybody but the officer. They'll go and just tear them to pieces. Won't let the officer know there's a problem. That won't offer advice or support to the officer. It's easy to dig on people. It's easy to criticize. It's super easy to talk about the things that you would want, what the best case scenario is, especially if you yourself have never done it, if you yourself are not willing to do it. Yeah, it's very easy to sit there and just go, well, this could have been better. Well, that should have been this. It's very frustrating, especially for volunteers, that when they are the only ones stepping up to volunteer, and people are nitpicking them, but aren't also willing to, actually volunteer themselves, or help, offer any sort of anything at all. You're going to lose your volunteers. You're going to lose them. And again, overlooked. It's kind of crazy how much this drives people off and knocks people down. Seriously, emotionally digs at them. If you have a team working for you, and especially if they're at the low levels of their ladder, goodness gracious, make it rain. Make it rain, please. It can be very ridiculous with the amount of things that we consider not good enough, right? I gotta air quote that because goodness. There's just a lot of things that we take for granted and things that we don't fully understand and go, oh, well, if they had done this, then sure, but this, especially for stuff like service. Also consider when folks are doing things, look at the collection of work. There's some things where it's like an absurd amount of work and then they do it for an absurd amount of time. Maybe doing it once isn't enough, but doing it 10 times in a row, at that level, you should be considering those things. I find a lot of times, especially for folks that run events, they will do high caliber events and they'll do a lot of them and they'll do it for years and years and years. And there will be an officer that will just look at the last time they did it, and go, well, it's just once, so that's not enough. But ignoring that they haven't been receiving any awards for years and years and years of doing that high level work. Consider sets of things. Just like you do in art when you have sets, right? Collections. Consider some service things to be like collections. So I guess that's just an officer tip. But yeah. Find out what they have done and what they've been overlooked for and what they haven't been awarded yet. Look into it. Take it considerably. And at the very least, even if they are too high on their orders, Zodiacs, for one, are a thing. Zodiacs are a very nifty thing. They pick out one person for a 1 month where they go, this person did something phenomenal and we are going to recognize it. You can get to masterhood with doing, like, you don't have to do crazy 10 level masterhood thing every single time and get Master Zodiac, right? That's the type of thing where you can just make it rain on that. There's right, again, flames, Order of the Flame is another thing, right? Even if you're doing XYZ, right, you can go to Master on that. That's not going to be an issue, right? Anything that's not leading to knighthood, honestly, just make it rain. There's really no reason not to. Like, zero reason. And if you're not doing that, then at least, again, bare absolute minimum, shout-outs. Absolutely shout out every single person that is helping with the thing. Every single one. Because all it takes is somebody volunteering, doing something, putting a lot of time into something, and you say nothing. You do not thank them. You do not acknowledge them. You do not tell anyone that they have done anything. It's like they didn't do anything at all. It's like you ignored their entire existence, all the work and time they put in for you, and then it's gone. And then you have to sit there and go, why would they want to keep volunteering? If I disregard their existence or any work that they do for me, why would they want to come back? That's a super negative atmosphere. Don't overlook them. You should shout out everybody that volunteers for you. Always. And I think it's also important for us as a community to remember what the thankless jobs are and to not make them thankless. Quite literally, once in a blue moon, just go onto your Facebook, go onto your Discord, and just give your officers a shout out. Just go, do you know what? Hey, this is my monarch, this is my regent, my champion, my GMR. They've been busting their butt, and I appreciate them. Thank you for the work that you do. Thank you for taking 6 months out of your life to dedicate to our park. Thank you for stepping up and volunteering when no one else would. Thank you for serving us, for putting us before yourselves. You have no idea how far that will get them. That will put them through another 6 months. It doesn't take much. Just acknowledging how much they do. Acknowledge that they're making sacrifices for you. They are putting time and effort into things. You would be astounded if you realize the amount of volunteers we have in this game. Because you don't know who they are. Because there's so many of them. And so many of them are overlooked. Not getting thank yous. But this entire game is run by volunteers. Literally everyone. The whole entire thing. From the very, very bottom to the absolute very top. Jobs that are teeny tiny, you put an hour into work, and other folks that are putting years into a position. Runs the gamut. But it's all volunteers. Imagine if you have a job and you then had to do that job and not get paid. You would be absolutely astounded how many volunteers are putting in the amount of hours that are equivalent to a full-time job and are not getting paid. Now consider also that not only are they putting in the hours of a full-time job, but they don't even receive a thank you at the end of it. Why would they stay? Why would they want to continue to kill themselves for this game if no one even acknowledges their existence, let alone the work that they put in? We cannot keep volunteers if we don't treat them right, if we don't honor them and appreciate them. Frustration. Can you tell I'm frustrated? Frustrated. Okay. Undervalued. Making them easily replaceable. If you have somebody that has created something and they are busting their butt to run it, and then a week later you go, okay, let's switch it up. Anyone else want to do this? That means that they have no worth. That means that what they've done, what they've created, you're taking ownership of their intellectual property, their ideas and their creations and the things that they are running and things that they're passionate about, and you will destroy every bit of passion that they got. They'll also will make it very difficult for them to want to create things for the game because they will constantly be afraid that somebody else will take it from them. When you start an initiative, when you start something, it's something you have to put an extreme amount of time, effort, and care into. And if you just take it from them, they will stop. Because that type of hurt, it becomes a trust thing. It becomes a trust thing. It means that they don't have value, which go into self-worth issues. It'll spiral down. Every time. Right. Imagine if somebody just came in and went, okay, do you know what? I think someone else should run Admiral Academia. Yep, no, Admiral, that's fine. But yeah, let's see who wants to run Admiral's Academia today. Just hand it off to somebody, right? This is my series of classes. I've been doing this for, a year now, online. I'm teaching for a lot more years than this, but Admiral's Academia specifically, right? I'd be so devastated, like beyond belief devastated, if somebody just came and just took it as their own, and then ran with it, and then passed it off and did whatever, and just pushed me out. Now, I mean, like, this isn't controlled by anyone else, so they can't do that. But if this was specifically something that was run through my kingdom, right? They're giving me the extreme honor to be able to be a scheduled event for tonight. Right, they're giving me the platform and allowing folks to take credits and using the space. But otherwise, right, this isn't a thing that is controlled or dictated through my kingdom, right? I can just stop doing these. I could move them to different days and different times. I can do them on my own. I can take them to different kingdoms, right? I have full ownership of this. But if I didn't, if I, for instance, didn't call it Admiral's Academia, if I just had a time slot and then just went, this is just Kingdom Chi-Chi time. The next reign, somebody could easily just be like, okay, thanks and all, but does anyone else want to do Chi-Chi Kingdom time? We're just gonna want to pass it around, give it to someone else, right? Making somebody easily replaceable is very damaging, and it makes them not want to keep on creating things and offering things, because they'll just feel that it's going to be ripped from them. That what they've done isn't enough, doesn't matter, enough to where you would even go, hey, we should find someone else to do it. Or that it's something that should be rotated, and again, that person doesn't matter, they have no worth, literally anyone can do it. Right? And then I'm going to say the next thing is naivety. This is when folks don't understand the extent of the job that they're asking people to do. They're not going to respect or honor or value in any way somebody who's doing a volunteer position if they don't understand the volunteer position at all. There's a lot of things that volunteers do that are, I'm going to say, a lot of behind the scenes work that folks are just completely unaware of. And they'll just assume that it'll always be done. They'll assume that that's a quick and easy thing, just because somebody's good at something. I want to stress that it doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that it's quick. It doesn't mean that it doesn't take effort. It isn't exhausting, or that they couldn't be doing something that they choose to do. It doesn't mean they could be doing the same thing, getting paid for it. Or choose to do something with that time where they could be paid for it, or devoting to another hobby or to their work life or their family life, stuff like that. There's a lot of things where things look simple and they look quick and they're not, right? I was talking with somebody literally today. I think it was, might have Geldar. Geldar, are you here? Right, I think, when I do these classes, there's lots of folks that think that I just come on here and riff. I do not. I moved them to bi-weekly specifically because it takes me 2 weeks to prep these. And there's so much that goes into it. Even picking the class that I'm doing for that night takes a lot of time and a lot of care. A lot of it goes into me going around and visiting folks and listening and figuring out, and basically just figuring out where there are concerns, where there's a need, right? With this, right, this topic, this came about because I was doing an interview for another kingdom, and this was specifically something that somebody asked me for advice on. I had gone to a couple other kingdoms in the week, and the topic of volunteer fatigue and hey, yeah, it was from discussion for today. Awesome. Also, hi. In getting burnt out and the stressors of that people are going through right now, and also folks not knowing how to get out of it, essentially, or not realizing that they had hit that point. I pick the classes that I do dependent on where I see there being a need in the game at the time. So I do not have classes like my set list. There's a few things that I'll have in the back of my mind, but what I'm doing isn't decided until 2 weeks prior. And I'll make the call, and then I'll name the class, and I'll build it from there. But I need to create the slides. I need to figure out what I'm going to put on there, how to condense all the class into just talking points. Besides that, this is not what my living room looks like normally. That's not there. I don't keep random fur thingies on my couch. Even me, how I'm sitting right now, I have an ottoman here normally. This is not normal. My legs are never down like this. Right? There's a table, there's a computer, there's a mic, there's another table over here. I have to set dress this entire area. I have to move all the furniture out of the way. I need to pre-decide what my outfit is going to be, and I preset all of my garb. I wear glasses normally. I have to get into contacts. I have to do my makeup. I literally have to do my hair the night before. I have to braid and beat it, and then I have to wrap it up and use a wig cap, so when I'm tossing and turning, not sleeping, worrying all night long, so that I don't get it all frayy and messy, right? So I can't even do this the same day as my class. I literally will do it before I go to bed. Right? Also, I do my nails before I go to bed. I have to prep everything. Before I do classes, because of my medical stuff, I have to do yoga and stretching. I have to take medication to be able to sit up for this amount of time. I have to wear stuff underneath this to hold me up for this amount of time. Right? I would not be able to sit up straight otherwise if I were not wearing medical stuff underneath me, right? Smoke and mirrors. There's right, a facade here. This is all built up with pillows, but you can't see it, right? Again, that's holding my spine up. There's a lot that go into these things that most folks don't realize. And it looks like I just come on here and I just boop, right? I have to do tech tests with my husband. Bunjo, I appreciate you. You're wonderful, right? We have to create the border for the class, right? Even designing my logo for this, right? All of this has to be done. Then it's a matter of, I'm rambling at this point, getting the word out, creating the event page, spamming it everywhere, making announcements, bringing them up to town hall each week, right? Like, it's not just me sitting on the couch talking for, the amount of time that we're here. There's so much that goes into everything volunteers do in this game. They're this in depth. And it becomes an issue of folks just not being aware. Now, am I expecting anyone to know any of that? No. Do you need to know that? No. But just going on and going, oh, well, anyone can do that. That's super simple. And, oh, hey, yeah, no, I was kind of wishing there was a class at this. Can you, do this, a class tomorrow? Can you just, right, understanding that me putting on a class is not an overnight thing. It's not a quick, simple thing that I can just do. It takes a lot. Every single one takes a lot of time. And this is not the only thing that I do. So it's understanding all of it, to understand the value of a thing. So when you have an officer that is busting their butt around the clock, they're getting messages at all hours of the morning, getting people just yelling at them about all these things, and sometimes things they have nothing to do with, but they're getting blamed for, while also having to deal with awards and having to deal with meetings and running things and getting volunteers and keeping them organized and giving them direction. there's so much that volunteers do that folks just are naive about. They don't understand. And the kicker and the thing that's the thing that hurts, not only do people not know, but a lot of people just don't care. I'm just going to be super blunt about it. Some folks just don't care. They just want the thing done. They don't care how it's done. They don't care about the person doing the thing. They don't care what it takes to do a thing. They just want to come and have fun, and they don't want to do any of the work. And they don't care who is doing the work for them. This is how you lose volunteers. This is how your volunteers get fatigued, where they're like, there's no point. I don't even exist in these folks' mind. Killing myself for nothing. That's when you lose volunteers. So it is extremely important that we as a community understand that we are mindful of what we are doing to our volunteers, or in some cases what we're not doing. In a lot of cases, what we're not doing for our volunteers. That what we say has a lot of weight. It can be extremely damaging and hurtful. You could have somebody that is an amazing worker. Amazing. But you cut them down once and they'll never work again. You have to be cautious with your words. Being careless with your words can be extraordinarily damaging and can cause burnout and can cause volunteer fatigue and for folks to spiral out very badly. So, special reminder, do not take advantage of your volunteers. Please don't. Thank you. Again, I'm just gonna Will Smith meme this. And this isn't just folks that are creating volunteers. This is all of us. This is every single one of us. If you are an amp guarder and you are enjoying this game, it is because somebody else is making that happen. It's because somebody else is volunteering, putting their time in to make it happen. They are running for offices. They are running for positions. They are creating events. They are creating opportunities. They are creating field. They are creating activities. They don't get to enjoy the game because they're too busy making it enjoyable for you. Thank them. Please, just thank them. A thank you will go so much farther than you could possibly imagine. Sometimes somebody will get just absolutely in their head and they'll start just self-doubt, self-worth issues. They'll start spiraling out, and then you'll have somebody that says thank you, and that's it. A thank you in everything spins on a dime. It's pretty outstanding. It's pretty outstanding. So please do not take advantage of your volunteers. Thank them. Don't make any job in this game be a thankless job. We can stop every job in this game from being a thankless job if we are the ones to thank them. If we make it a thanking job, then we can change that. We can make it not be thankless. So that's on all of us. Myself included, every single one of us. We can do this. We should do this. We will do this. Okay? Good stuff. Okay. Positive spins. Let's do positive stuff. Okay. What is one sound that makes you really happy? Just favorite sound in the world. Mine is my cat tray purring. Hands down. What is your favorite sound? Just a sound that just you hear it and it just like, yes, this is great. Best thing ever. Tiny cats. Perfect. Bonk. Yes. Fantastic. Yes. Keep them coming. This is good. Joyous word. Honk! Yes! Geldar gets 1,000 points for tonight. Wacky bats. Yep. Man, I miss that sound. We'll get back there. It's gonna be fantastic when we do it. Think of all of that whacking. Just good, solid sounds. Excellent. Okay. Good stuff. I appreciate you, by the way. There's... A teacher is nothing if they have no students. You being here in this moment, I seriously and genuinely appreciate you. Every single one of you. I can see how many viewers there are right now. You're amazing, and I appreciate you. And for folks that are going back and watching this video in the future, I appreciate you too. You did not need to watch this. This was your choice. You went and decided to click on this video. Thank you. Thank you. You have given me a point and purpose. Thank you. At this point, again, remember, to sign in, on the Nine Blades Discord, the room that we're in is the Nine Blades schedule event. But again, for our Discord, you can sign in any room. It'll still work. Just use the amped bot as you would normally use in your respective kingdoms. Also, if you have any questions, again, be sure to the gasp when I say something particular and RP. Yep, if you heard that is, that's legit, and the gasping is usually me. Crazy thing. Shenanigans. Oh, God. Good stuff. Yes. Yay. Okay. Again, if you have any questions at any point, please just tag me in either the text chat here on Twitch or on the Nine Blades scheduled event. Either one is perfectly good, and I'm monitoring both. And sign in. Good stuff. Let's see real quick. Okie doke. Splendid. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so we have discussed what burnout is, the red flags, what to look out for, and hopefully this is to prevent it, right? To be mindful of it and to make sure it doesn't happen. But what if you're already there? A lot of folks are already there. So, sometimes you're not gonna be able to catch this. And you're in it, now what? So let's dig into how to get out of it, right? I'm gonna tell you right now, there's hope. You can get back, okay? You can get back. This does not need to be a forever feeling, but there's gonna be some stuff that you're gonna have to work for. So let's go through those things. Self-awareness. Being able... 2-second distraction point. Bonnie the Broken Wench, I appreciate you. They just posted a GIF in Twitch, for the sound, because they could not share it in the Twitch chat. It is a chicken that goes, it's a face I do often, and I appreciate you. Excellent. Excellent. I love that GIF so much. Okay. Moving on. Self-awareness. It is extremely important to acknowledge when you are in a burnout. Knowing the signs, knowing basically what burnout is, recognizing, oh, this is it. You can't fix a problem if you don't acknowledge that there is a problem. So address all the warning signs, see if actually go, is this me? Am I there? Then you're gonna do the following, right? If you're there. Also, I'm gonna specify this again. These are suggestions. These are things that may work for you. Everyone is a very individual person, and especially the mind is a very, very challenging thing. Some strategies may work for some are going to work for others. There might be differences, there may be slight things or drastic differences. This is general advice and suggestions. So it's extremely important to recognize that these may not be the solution for you, but it is important to have that discussion to start figuring out what does and does not work best for you. There is no one that can tell you, this is the answer, you need to do this. Okay? I just want to specify this so very much. Everyone is their own person. These are suggestions. I hope they work. I hope they're helpful to you. And if anything, if not, then I hope that it starts the discussion. I hope that it starts the process of going out and figuring out what those specific things are. But these may be helpful to you. So, self-care. This is going to be, again, different from person to person. This could be as simple as you are at an event and you are putting in so much time and effort that you don't eat and you don't drink and you don't sleep. It could be as simple as you are burnt out at that event and you just need to be more healthy at that moment in time, and you go home after that long weekend, you rest for a few days, you get rehydrated, you're getting back into a good sleep schedule, and you're eating healthily, and you're fine. The rest of the week, you are back and you're good. Burnout can be a few days, a few weeks, a few months, or it could be years that you could be in burnout. The time is going to be very specific to the person. It's going to be dependent on their own personal work ethic, their what their triggers are, their own perceptions and mentality, and how deep they're in. If you have those red flags and you are able to be self-aware and you notice right away, oh, I am heading down the path, and you're able to just put up that red, that stop sign and go, stop, distract, redirect, right? You just, it can be a shorter recovery period for you, right? If you just go down the deep end and there is no stopping and no regarding it, and you just keep on plummeting down, it's gonna take longer to get back. Each case is going to be dependent on the person. So self-care, right, is going to be specific to your personal needs, right? Somebody that, again, has chronic pain and chronic illness is going to have a very different self-care routine than somebody that is a perfectly healthy human being. They might also be able to, I don't know how best to say, even though outwardly they might seem like they're in bad shape, they might actually be in a better situation because they are more self-aware of their body and the warning signs of when they're in stress, de-stress, have a full set of coping skills already pre-established, know the answer of what they need to do to get into good health again, have a routine for such things, be accustomed to already being in a health situation to where it does not faze them and they are unable to live with self-care stuff, right? If your daily life is dealing with your self-care needs, when you really need to hunker down, you're already used to that. You're already used to dealing with that kind of stuff. So even though sometimes that seems like they're in the worst situation, and it'll be harder for them, the really weird thing is sometimes they do the best at this. Again, personal experience, that's weird, but yeah, we're just really, really used to it, and we are very, very aware of when our body is yelling at us, more or less. Sometimes you need a special bonk on the nose, right? Service dogs are amazing. That's a thing. Otherwise, advocating for yourself, especially for folks that are doing volunteer work, when they are in a situation where they aren't given direction, or they are being overlooked, mistreated, not getting support they need, whatever the case might be, saying no, saying I can do this, but only if this happens, putting your foot down sometimes and just going, I want to do this, I can do this, but not in this type of way. It's going to be very, very, very important that you don't let somebody just walk all over you. I gotta say, learning to say no was the hardest thing I ever had to do. And I still hate doing it, and it still feels awkward as heck, but it is essential. It is essential to avoid burnout. And this can also go into even just like the regular burnout, not necessarily even just the volunteer fatigue aspect. But like if somebody's guilt tripping you to do a tournament, and they're like, you're gonna wow us, aren't you? It's Wednesday, right? You got till Saturday. Can't wait to see your stuff. I've been telling everybody how great your stuff is gonna be. You're gonna win this time, right? Like, number one, don't do that to a person, please. But if they took the time and go, I can't do this. I'm going to run myself into the ground. And you're gonna burn yourself out trying to do a tournament, right? Advocate for yourself again. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do it this time. I'm not in a good space. My stuff isn't ready, and I need to do some self-care. But next one I'm going to try to do. Right? Advocate for yourself. Don't just get guilt-tripped into things, which I know is hard. I know it's hard. Do not just get... do not accept every single volunteer thing that's thrown at you. Don't offer to do everything. There's a lot to it. The big thing is take on as much as you can handle, right? Again, for a lot of us that are really good with multitasking, good organizational skills, likes that go, that controlled chaos, right? Being active, being productive, and having that motivation and working, right? The workload can be substantial, and it be in a good, positive, being able to achieve, being still efficient and effective, being in a good headspace while you're doing it, and being in good health, right? All of that's quite possible. Again, it's when it becomes too much, when it becomes overwhelming, or it pushes that point of the point of you doing a thing because you want to do a thing, and you're willing to do a thing, and you can do a thing, and being taken advantage of, right? And doing something that you don't want to be doing, or too much of a thing. That's when you need to speak up. That's when you need to go, okay, hey, well, it's a little much. Or even just going, hey, I need a break, or I need more teammates. I need other people to step up and be doing a thing with me. You gotta advocate for yourself. Communication, which of course is part of that. But even if it's just venting, find a safe person that you can vent to. Somebody that isn't going to then turn around and tell everybody in the town, right? Somebody that isn't going to use that as some sort of gossip, spilling the tea, rumor mills and all of that, right? Because when you're venting, a lot of times you'll say things that are like a bit rough, and it's not necessarily what you really feel. It's a vent. It's just getting stuff off your chest in whatever way that's going to come out. Most folks will understand what a vent is and how that works. But like, it has to be somebody you trust, somebody that you can talk to. It's very, very, very important that you do have somebody to talk to in some way. To express your frustration, your stress, because that's good. It's good to get off your chest, right? I think, like, I know for me, I will get really stressed out if I just hold it in and say nothing, and all it takes is me just finding some good close friend that I trust and just going, all of this, blah, and then I'm fine. Like, literally 24-hour turnaround, and it's as if nothing had happened, and I'm just go again. I don't take, like, my recovery time is very, very short, and I am very, very fortunate to be in that situation, but that also is from a lot of years of recognizing signs, realizing things, personal training from previous, experiences in my life, and, knowing how to, coping mechanisms and recovery strategies and understanding what triggers are and how to deal with stress and how to turn things into motivation versus self-deprecation, that sort of thing. So for me, like, the amount of time I need to rest on a thing is very short, and if I can just have a good line of communication, right? Sometimes there will be very tiny, silly things where it will be a matter of, I will think something is being done, this specific thing, and that somebody hates me or is out to get me or trying to whatever, right? And I will just spiral into myself, and that won't be the case at all. And it will just be a very stupid, silly misunderstanding. And I will go through all of this emotional drain, worrying over nothing. Having that communication open, expressing when you have a concern, something that hurts you, or that you're scared about or concerned about, any sort of stuff like that, talking that out, still it's like very hard to do, but it's necessary. Communication is really, really, really important. And if you are noticing that you're getting more cynical, if you're noticing that you're mentally exhausted, and you notice that you are unable to produce, you're unable to be effective in the things that you're doing, reach out. Understand those warning signs, the red flags, and talk to somebody. Don't let that fester, and don't keep that to yourself. Basically what happens is with those types of things, you'll start seeing retreating behavior. Folks will become more isolated, they will shut down, they'll be less active, they'll be less forthcoming. You'll just see a shutdown in multiple ways, but a lot of times you'll see a retreat. Don't do that. Do not retreat. That's the point, to go, hey, help. Hey, family. Hey, friends. Hey, support mechanism of some sort. I'm starting to notice I'm burning out. I just need to talk with somebody. I need to work it out. I need to figure out what's going on. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about that. Can somebody just remind me why I love this game? Remind me of the community that we have, the bonds and the friendships, and enjoying the small things, like just a wake-up call, as it were. Just something to, again, I like these, the phrasing of just stop, distract, redirect. When the spiral starts, you have to stop it. You have to stop it where it starts. The more it goes down, the more you get into your own head and you start going down, the deeper you're going to get and the harder it's going to get get back up. It's the first sign that you see. As soon as you start that mentality, you've got to put out that stop sign. literally have an actual just visual stop sign in your head, just a giant thing that pops up. And at that point, distraction. Literally do anything that's going to change your thought, your mind thought. Blah, words. Blah, blah. Your train of thought, right? Go onto YouTube and watch a funny random thing of a bunch of tiny kittens being adorable and ridiculous. Funny dogs doing nonsense. Whatever it is, right? Stand-up comedy. Put your headphones on, listen to something that is upbeat, something that is positive. As a music therapy major, I'm going to tell you, be very cautious of what you listen to, because there are songs that can make you more depressive, and there are songs more anxious, more angry. It's a really fascinating field, and I definitely encourage it, but you gotta be mindful. But the power of a positive song, something, it doesn't even have to be like yay, feeling do, right? It doesn't have like corny happy. You don't have to go that far. I mean, if it works for you, hey. But things that are just like pump you up, right? Last night I listened to Crab Rave on loop for an absurd amount of time, and I had the lights that we have around the top that you can't see going like the crazy like changing color things, because I was tired. I was prepping this class, and I'm literally braiding my hair, and I'm exhausted, and I was just like, I need to be in a good headspace so that I don't find this to be like a draining, stressful time. So I just had lights going, and I had Crab Rave going, and I'm just like jamming, and it was amazing. It was just like this goofy fun thing. It's like dance like no one's watching you, because no one was, and I did. I just straight up did it, and it was so much fun. Like, it was just a silly, goofy time, and it made just me braiding my hair to be a fun, random, quirky experience. Right? Sometimes you just need to be distracted and redirecting to something else. It's amazing how useful that is as a coping mechanism and as a strategy. So if you're noticing any sort of mental spiral, that's a thing that might work for you. It's a strategy tip thing. Again, right? This is a suggestion. It's worked really well for me. I'll preface it like that. Okay. And then we'll go into taking breaks. This, again, is going to be extraordinarily dependent on the person, and what a break means for that person. There are some folks that will get more anxious, more depressed, just in the far lesser things of just stressed and uncomfortable if they have less to do. Some folks do not do well with breaks. Very important to know which one you are. Some folks need a hard pump the brakes. Completely just stop. Just stop volunteering, stop being in office, stop crafting, stop fighting, whatever your particular thing is that is making you burn out. Sometimes you need a hard stop. Sometimes you need a soft stop, where it's just going back a little, just doing less of it. Some folks just need to just do different things. So it's very important that you know which one works for you. You don't want to make it worse on yourself, right? But I want to say those are usually corner cases, right? I know for me, me taking a break is like, most folks would not consider it a break. I'm somebody that just always needs to be active. I need to be doing something. I gotta have purpose. I gotta have some sort of, I like to be distracted, I like to be motivated, and I like to be productive. So if I just have a hard stop from everything, that makes everything worse off, because then I have nothing to do but ruminate on the fact that I'm not doing anything and I'm not being productive and I don't have anything that's motivating me and I have nothing to do, I have nothing to achieve, and that just makes it a lot worse. So it's important that you understand that everyone's going to be different on that topic, and what is a break for them will be very specialized to them. Changing focus. Okay, so sometimes this is just like if you are putting all of your eggs in one basket and you are hyper focusing on something and you're just not making headway and you are just getting to a grind, you're getting to an overwhelming just hopelessness, I'm gonna say. Sometimes, like, it's just changing direction and focus on something else will do it for you. Sometimes that's the type of break that will work for you. Not changing the amount that you're doing, not changing your productivity or anything like that. It's just changing what you're putting all of that energy into, right? If it's just a matter of you're not getting far enough in this, go to something that you can get farther into for the time being. Like, I'll give an example. For those that craft, if you are working on one piece and you're not getting it, you're not liking where you're going with it, you've been working on it forever, it just is draining you, it's not up to your standards, it's not up to snuff, and it's getting from the point of new and exciting and productive to just you are miserable doing it. Picking up a different project, even a different medium, can be enough of a change, enough of a redirect, that you can kickstart that crafting excitement, that you can recharge your batteries, in a sense, and just put your focus into something new and exciting and something that you can grow and do. And then later on, when you're in that good space, then you can go back. Or you might choose to leave it entirely. Knowing when to let go is important. Knowing if you want to let go. Or if you should hold on to that for dear life and you don't let go of that at all. Knowing what you want to do and what's going to make you happy, what's going to make you feel fulfilled, is important. And you go down that path. But sometimes it's just, I'm going to step away from this for now, come back to it later. And it's not, I gotta stress this, it's not a failure. It's not you messing up. It's not you not being good enough. Sometimes you just hyper focused on a thing and you gotta widen your gaze. Just need to take a step back and look at it fresh eyes. Sometimes you'll be working on a thing and literally all it will take is sleeping on it. Just, you know what? I've been staring at this thing for 14 hours and it's just not feeling it. It's digging at me. Go to bed. Go to bed. Stop putting all of that spent energy, exhaustion. Just rest. Just take some time. Sometimes just that time away will help you think of new ideas and different ways to approach it, and finding different ways that it's gonna, be exciting again, right? That could be as simple as finding strategies like crafting with others, right? Some folks specifically do better when they're crafting alone, right? Watching some sort of, binge series, right? Where you just get into a good headspace and a groove and you just do your thing, I find for myself, some things, if I'm crafting with others, I'm like super productive, and the camaraderie is great, but there's some crafts that if I try to do with others, I will just talk with folks and I'll just stop actually doing anything. But if I'm by myself and I just have music playing, or I'll have like some sort of show on, I will just get into such a groove that I will just pump out stuff and I will just be so productive. But it's very dependent on what craft I'm doing, and also the timeline. When is it due? How much time do I have to do it, right? And the amount of stress and worry and my level of enjoyment can be very dependent on the due date of that item. So that's an important thing. So I guess like just a general tip from a Serpent Knight, I'm going to tell you right now, do things on your own timelines. If you are just destroying yourself to enter everything into this one Dragon Master tournament, hold off. There are a million Dragon Masters. A million. And they're gonna come every single time. Every single reign. There's gonna be another one. There's what, 22 kingdoms now? Especially in this time where you can enter online. Yeah, you can throw your stuff in another kingdom even. If you're doing stuff for your park, right, you can go up and do it in a higher level tournament. There's so many other, or exact opposite. You're destroying yourself to put it in kingdom, maybe throw it into a berry one instead. Maybe throw it into a shire. Like, don't force it. Don't do it to where you are miserable and you're not enjoying the experience, or you're rushing it, you're not producing it like you could or should be, where you're just getting into your own head, you're focusing so much on the tournament that you're not enjoying the experience of crafting, and you're more concerned about the score than the thing that you're making, right? Something that's helped me personally is I specifically will make crafts that are either gifts for folks, or they're things that I personally want, to where no matter if they are, they get destroyed in a tournament, or if I never receive an award for them, there's still something that I wanted at the end of the day and would make anyways. Something that I really enjoy doing. It might be as simple as, right, maybe there's an auction coming up and I just want to volunteer and make something, but I want to explore and make a new, do something with a new medium and just play around and whatever, right? Having a purpose to what I'm doing. I've made things in the past where I made them specifically for a tournament, and I did not enjoy it. I just hyper-focused on the tournament, and it did well, but I didn't find enjoyment in it. And I wasn't like... And then at the end of the tournament, I have this giant thing, and I'm just like... I don't even have space for this thing. Like, I don't know why I did this, right? That's the type of thing where it can be a negative experience. That's where it can, you know, start heading you into that burn zone, right? Because all it will take is you not getting the positive reinforcement or the positive feedback, the positive response that you are looking for, even in a sense craving, to ruin the whole thing, right? The whole thing can be just completely if you don't get the response that you did it for, right? So try to keep that in mind. Just random tips. Small attainable goals. Okay, so this is a big one. This is just one I advocate for literally everything, every single path that you do, and every just like anything, just pretty much anything. When you have small attainable goals, that means that you're going to achieve more in a shorter amount of time, and it can help result in feeling more productive, feeling more successful, and being able to, again, produce. If you If you make your goal too big, you might miss it, and you might not be able to achieve it. And again, the feeling of not being able to achieve your goals can absolutely spiral you into that burnout, or affect it greatly. So, like I'm talking about really small goals, really small. Also, write them down. There is not a single moment of the day that I do not have a notebook with me. I literally will take it from room to room with me. And I have checklists. I write everything I have to do down. Everything. And once I do a thing, I check the box. And looking back, and just like the feeling of being able to check off a box is just like, I get too excited about it. Just like, yes, it's done. And it's just nice to just go, I did all of these things. Or it's all done. I did it. That's everything I needed. And I'm done. The sense of accomplishment, the relief of being done, the peace of mind knowing that you got everything that you wanted on there, right? You're not going to forget to do a thing because it's written down. It's there. If the box isn't ticked, it means you haven't done it yet. Those things could really, really help. I find that folks that get into that burnout zone are folks that will not subdivide their tasks. What they'll do is, I'll give an example. Let's say somebody's making a new set of garb. What they will do is they will make their goal to have the entire thing done. And that box isn't ticked until the whole thing is done. What is going to help a lot more is if you subdivide it into tasks. First task, sketch it. Just what is your general idea of the garb you want to make? Assess how many pieces. Assess, right, what materials you want to make it out of. How many pieces. The different techniques that you're going to be using, right? If you are going to needle felt this, or embroider that, or make a hat, do millinery, right? Different things that you're going to try out. Break every single bit of a task down, right? If I am making this glove here, which I did, what I would do is I would have pattern. I would have cutout pattern. I would have hand stitch, basting stitch. I would have serge. I would have rip out basting stitch. I would have turn over edges. I would have adding elastic. And each one of those things would be a separate thing. Instead of just going gloves, right? Break it down into smaller things and then check them off as they go. And then you realize how much work you put into a thing. You will hopefully realize that you're putting a lot into something, that you're doing a lot more than you realize. Don't take yourself for granted. And don't have unrealistic expectations of yourself. Don't expect more of yourself than you ought to. For folks that I'm gonna say are new to chronic pain and illness, the thing I see most often is they're learning how to deal with spoons. They will think of the day as a failure because they weren't able to do everything that their normal day used to be. What they have to do instead is break down everything that's going to cost a spoon. Whether that is putting fresh clothes on, taking a shower, eating breakfast, having a social interaction, changing into sleepwear, making your bed, right? Fresh sheets, taking all of your medication in a day. That's the type of breakdown you need to do, instead of going every errand under the sun. I wasn't able to get all of these errands done, so I'm a failure. No. That's not how it works. What is something that's going to work for some person, and what is obtainable goals for them is not going to be the same for another person. And equating your self-worth to that is how you get burnt out. It's how you get depressed. You can get into a very, 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 very bad headspace if you're going with that sort of mentality and philosophy. There should not be a point to where you go, you are a failure. You didn't do a thing, you have failed. You didn't succeed at a thing, which equates to you're a failure. No. Stop sign. Okay? Giant stop sign. You set your own goals, and it's your life, right? And this is with AmpGuard as well. Not everyone needs to be gunning towards knighthood. Not everyone needs to be even gunning for masterhood or paragons or, right? Trying to get your second something. Not even focusing on awards whatsoever. Just, hey, I want to be a Krat sometime. My goal is not to get my next rose, not to get my next lion. My goal is to be a successful Krat. I'll even take it back a step. To make it onto a Krat team. Just that. Make it onto a Krat team. To work with an autocrat that wants you on their team. You convince them that you're the right person for the job, that you are motivated, that you can do it, and that you want to do it, and get on the team. Boom, goal. The next thing is, okay, you're on the team. My next goal is to be a good Krat. To have good communication with the leadership of that Krat team. If I have a team myself as a Krat, then to have good communication with my team. To keep them feeling motivated and appreciated, and remembering to thank them, and doing check-ins to make sure that the work is getting done, to make sure my own work is getting done, to be a good Krat. Not to get my next thing, to be the thing I'm doing. That should be your mindset. Small, attainable goals. Just focus on the here and now, and not what you can get from it. Right? Again, try to disassociate the awards from your worth. Don't try to do things for your next award. Try to do something, however, that you can strive for improvement. Something, let that be your motivation. Your motivation to be, to improve on a skill. That might be communication, that might be leadership, that might be learning different maneuvers for sword path. That might be learning a new craft, a new medium. Mixed medias, right? Mixing all sorts of mediums together. Working on sets of things. Trying out harder, more difficult things. Taking on more responsibilities that you can handle, that you're okay with and you're prepared for. But make those your goals. Right? So think of more of the product of the thing, and after it, you can look back and go, hey, I wonder if any of that could go towards something. Right? Think of it in reverse. Do the thing, then look back. And then advocate and communicate and all that sort of good stuff, right? But Award stuff is a whole nother class, which I actually already have done. So if you check out that in my other videos, hey. What's left? Okay. Widen scope. This was the thing that I was mentioning before. If you are in a Shire and you never leave your park ever, you're gonna have a very small-minded perspective of our game. So try to travel if you can. Otherwise, right, look at where we're at right now. You are able to go to any kingdom in this entire game, 22 kingdoms. You can meet folks that you would never be able to see in real life. Work with them. Run things. We're in such a unique situation right now. Try to find the silver lining. Try to think of not that you're isolated and stuck and secluded and you miss doing wax and whatnot. Yes, obviously that's a thing. But what is the positive stuff coming out of this? How many folks are you talking to now that otherwise you would have only seen maybe once a year? Folks that you have gotten so close with that you never thought you would be talking to, let alone having these close personal bonds. Think of all of the kingdoms that you visited that you would never even be able to drive or fly to, given, time, physical being in, travel issues. Think of the folks that you get to work with and try out things and collaborate with. This is an extraordinary time, and it doesn't have to be all negative. There's some really great positive things coming out of a really horrible time. It's important to open that viewpoint, to take in everything, and to take advantage of what we have. Because when the pandemic is over, we're going to get back out in the field. And this time that we're going to have online, I'm certain there will still be some level of it, but it won't be as intensive as we have now. Now, some kingdoms don't have it quite as intensive as the Nine Blades. Nine Blades, we are literally online Monday through Friday from 6 to 10, and then various points on the weekends for events, like you're at right now, if you're watching this live. So it's a lot. We're on here a lot. We're doing a lot. Plus we have an offline credit program also for folks that are unable to be a part of the online participation aspect and are doing AmpGuard activities, just not online. But we'll be then, reporting for credit. So there's a lot going on. We're not going to have this sort of level of stuff going on when the pandemic is over, because our future park nights, while we're on there Monday through Friday, won't be there anymore. So we're going to see a condensing of that. So take advantage of the time that we have while we have it. Quite honestly, don't take life for credit or for granted at all. I know this is deep. I know this is super deep. But live each day like it's your last. Because quite honestly, we don't know how long we have. And we've got to live it for what we got. You never know. You never know. You don't know your fate. Worrying about things years from now can be a lot of wasted energy. Take it a day at a time. Take it a day at a time. You may find that you enjoy it more if you take it one at a time. Just get through your day. Just get through just one day, what you're trying to get done for that day, make some goals. Make some personal goals. Get that checklist out. Figure out what you want to achieve just that day. And see if you make it, right? Small attainable goals. And see how you feel by the end of the day. After you get right nitty gritty, make that detailed list, check off those boxes, and by the time you go to bed, go, I feel accomplished today. Even if it's the smallest things, just I brushed my teeth and I put on a new pair of PJs, and I had one meal. That's all you can do in the day, then do you know what? You did it. That's what you could get done. That's what you got done. And good on you. That's it. Don't live your life to have expectations for other people but other people have expectations of you, right? Make your own expectations of yourself and be realistic and be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Cannot express that enough. Okay. And the last thing, of course, is going to be positive environment. Again, I mentioned this before. If you are constantly surrounding yourself with negativity, just cutting people down, being cut down, just listening to just negativity and gossip and just everything wrong with the world, wrong with our game, just it's gonna be hard to be in a good, positive mindset at all. You can't just be constantly brought down psychologically and stay in a good, positive frame of mind. So surround yourself with good, positive individuals if you can. And this might be as simple as even your own mind. We're in a lot of situations of isolation right now. So making sure that you are not ruminating. Again, stop, distract, redirect, right? Do not ruminate. I cannot stress that enough. Do not ruminate. Ruminate is how you're going to get into that emotional distress, and you're going to spiral out, and it's going to be very, very hard, especially if you are in any sort of isolation at the moment. It's going to be important to stop hammer time. Oh my god. A foobard. Always crack me up. Right. It's going to be really, really important that you are gentle with your mind space, that you're keeping yourself in a good, positive environment. Reach out, connect with others. If you find that you're getting in your own head, go online, talk with folks. There are a million Discords right now, right? Again, come to the Nine Blades. Come to the Nine Blades. We want you. Come join us. Be our friend. We're on there 6 to 10. If you're finding that you do not feel, you feel isolated, that you are just getting down on yourself and you're ruminating and you're just not doing so good, come hang out with us. Come hang out, come craft, come quest, watch a class, just participate with us. There's so many amp garters online at so many hours of the day. We're out there. Make sure that you are getting out there too. Remember that solitary confinement is one of the worst punishments that a prison does to a person. Don't do that to yourself. Isolation can have extreme negative impacts on mental health, let alone anything else. But, like, seriously, isolation can be very bad. Isolation can be good when it is your choice and you need decompression and you need to take care of your own stuff, and when that's works for you. But otherwise, try to set aside some time to have some social time each day if you can, even if it's just like even 15 minutes a day, half an hour. Just go online, talk with some folks, even if you're not even talking, just listening, right? Come onto a voice chat, just listen, just understand that you're not alone. Just get around that environment. Just don't get to a point to where you are falling victim to that loneliness. I think it's the best advice I can give on that. Okay. And that's it. That's all the slides I got. So at this point, if anyone has any questions, anything that they would like me to reiterate or go into any further, if there's anything specifically that you're wondering about, if you have any particular scenarios or circumstances that you would like advice on, I'd love to hear it. Let me know. Again, if you could just tag me, it's just gonna be a little easier for me. I did get a bunch of questions from the Admiral's Academia AMA survey that I sent out, so I'm gonna cover those real quick. There's just a few of them. Okay. And in the meantime, again, there's a 20-second delay, so by the time you are able to type up your thing and post it, and I see it, I'll probably already be through these questions. So be sure to throw those in now so that I do not miss them, because we'll be wrapping up. How do you deal with people deciding for/telling you you're burnt out when you aren't? This is a big one. Please do not ever tell somebody that they're burnt out and that they have to do X. Being burnt out is a thing that somebody has to recognize for themselves. Before I went over the three underlying sort of things of burnout, which is the cynicism, the emotional I'm going to say distress, emotional exhaustion, sorry, and ineffectiveness. There's going to be points where you're going to be cynical and stressed out, and still have no issue producing. There's going to be points where you might be just emotionally exhausted, but still producing. It's when you've got all three. It's where you are so impacted by the other two that you stop producing, or you stop producing at that level. That's the kicker. You can be this or that. You might present as burnt out, but not be at all. You can be frustrated. You can be tired, and not be burnt out. So I think it's important for folks to recognize that those things are going to happen, and don't necessarily label them as such. It's frustrating because, like, I've dealt with this myself before. There's one quote that I really like, where somebody said that when people tell them to slow down, they say, "No, you catch up." Think of it like that. Don't tell other people to slow down. Don't tell them they need to take a break. They need to do this. They need to do that. They need to do what's right for them, and they need to acknowledge what is right for them. But they also have the right to make their own poor life choices. As weird as that sounds, everything that a person does in life is a choice. It's what their action is. There's going to be situations where they don't have control of their situations. That's going to happen. But anything that they actively do is a choice. And sometimes it takes crashing and burning for them to learn that. Sometimes they need to fail for them to realize the situation that they're in. They won't take it seriously until there is a negative result. If it's just all positivity, that they're not going to learn anything from it. They're not going to have that giant red flag that says, okay, hey, there's a problem. If they cannot address that there's a problem, then there's no reason to start finding solutions. But also, if there isn't a problem, there's also isn't a reason to try to find solutions. If you are able to manage and still keep going, then you're still in an okay spot. Right? For folks like me that like thrive on being busy and being productive and keep on just doing stuff, that's not a bad thing, and that's not a negative thing. There's going to be a lot of folks that do well under pressure, and a certain level of pressure is not a bad thing. Pressure can be a motivator, right? How you make diamonds is getting coal and putting it under extreme pressure, right? Understand that you can create those diamond moments. If there's no pressure, if there's no risk, there's no stress, then you're just coasting, right? You're coasting through life, and you're not ever challenging yourself. You're not ever going to push yourself for improvement or seeing the bounds of your limits, how far you can go, how big and grand you can do a thing. You'll never know if you don't explore. If you don't explore your options and you explore personal growth, right? In that respect, you do want some stress, and you want some pressure, and you want some motivation, and you need the fire under your bum to go. That's not always gonna be a bad thing. It's when it goes over to where it becomes overwhelming, and when it becomes detrimental, and when again the ineffectiveness starts happening, right? That's when it turns from a positive, motivating pressure to the warning signs, I'm going to say, of burnout, and potentially burnout itself. So, again, that's not something that someone else is going to be able to diagnose for you. It's not going to be something that somebody should forcibly try to do something or put you in a situation where you are the control is taken from you. I think it's important that folks don't try to force that on them. You're going to have folks that are going to have good intentions, and they're going to be worried for you, and they're going to think that they're helping. It is important to recognize when you're breaching the line of I am trying to help you to I'm trying to control you. There's some times where you have to just let go and let people experience life. You can try to have that interventing conversation as a friend, but if they tell you sincerely that that's not the situation, that they're producing just fine, that they might be stressed or something, but seriously, they're good, then you need to trust them. You need to not take the control from their hands. It's extremely important that you don't dominate someone else's life in that regard. Freedom as choice is extraordinarily important. Understand what that sort of thing would do to you, and put yourself in someone else's shoes. You don't want somebody else controlling and taking the reins from you for your own life and your own decisions. So don't do it for others. Okay, so next. How do you not burn out as a player? I see the constant spread of volunteers getting dumped on constantly, and it honestly makes the game harder to enjoy at times because it's disheartening. Yeah. Yep, that's super legit. For this, I'm going to say, be the change you want to see. Be a leader in that respect, right? Something that we previously went over, making thankless jobs not thankless. if you want to see folks not get dumped on, then speak up for them. Stop the conversations that are doing that, right? Go, hey, but you know what? They're actually doing a lot of work. Hey, you may not know this, but all of these facts about this person putting in a lot of work. This, hey, recognize they have a home life. Hey, recognize they're a human being. Hey, recognize that they're volunteers. Recognize they're not getting paid for this, but putting in all of these hours. Recognize they're doing the best they can. Recognize that they are humans with human failures, right? Flaws, right? They are not, everyone is capable of making mistakes. Everyone is capable of, wait, we aren't getting paid. Nope. Surprise! Yeah. Well, that was volunteers get paid. That's not a thing. Right, it's important that, that we put the positivity out there. That if you can recognize that those things are happening, then be the counter to it. If you make the movement of making sure folks get recognized, if you make the movement to go out of your way to thank volunteers, others will follow. If you lead, others will follow. So instead of letting that just consume you, instead of just letting, just standing by and hearing just people who are genuinely trying their best just get ripped apart, put some positivity out there. Again, put yourself in someone else's shoes. Learn what they do. Learn everything behind it. Understand everything that goes into the volunteer position that they're putting in. And then do something about it. Great. I'm gonna say again, there's lots of award recommendation surveys out there. Dame Alana Two Trees has a whole list of, I think almost every kingdom at this point of their award recommendation lists, including our own. And for those of us in the Nine Blades, or for folks from the Nine Blades, if you go to our Facebook group, if you go into the announcement section and you scroll down, it's in our announcement section. It's really, really important that if you see folks that are volunteering and they're putting everything into something, look into what they're doing, and if it's appropriate, throw some award recs their way. Again, even if it's just for a flame or a zodiac or something like that, try to get some sort of recognition. And otherwise, right, be that change. If you're in office, right, look to your volunteers, see what you can do to acknowledge them, whether that be through awards or otherwise. But if you're not, if you're just a regular old Joe like me right now, just make a post here and there. Just seriously, just go out onto your kingdom page, your park page, and just throw out some love. Get some positive threads up there. Just make sure that folks are getting those thank yous. Be the counter. Everything in life is balance. So if you're seeing a lot of negativity, throw some more positivity in there. Balance it out. See if that helps. Okay. So this one I checked out beforehand. And I'm just going to go through real quick to see if I missed anything. But I do believe they're covered in everything else in the class, so I'm just going to do a quick check on that. And then let me quickly check out Discord. See if there's anything here. Okay. Again, we're getting to the end. So again, if you have any questions, or if there's you're looking for any like specific advice for any any particular scenarios, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to dive in. Again, you can do so in the Nineblaze Discord through the NB scheduled events text, or you can do so right here on Twitch. And so I'm gonna go through this last question on here, and again, 20-second delay. So if you have a question, please let me know. Okay, how to deal with burnout. Covered that. How to recognize when burnout is starting to occur. Got that. How to prevent it in the first place, or how to stop it progression if you feel the onset. Got that. How to recognize, reconcile that burnout leading to feeling jaded. Yep. How to try to reignite the passion, the joy of Vanguard, crafting, office, etc. I think we covered all that. So for the individual that put that in, I hope that I covered that to your satisfaction. Yeah. Again, if there's anything that anyone would like me to go further in depth about, or again, any further questions, please let me know. This is the time. We'll go into first hydration, and then the traditional 20-second silly dance. And my secret is that it's never actually 20 seconds. And always end with jazz hands. Okay. Would we burn out if we were paid? So the answer actually is no. Burnout is a thing that is most common in the workplace. Specifically, right, folks that are getting paid to do it. They could be paid significantly and still burn out. Burnout is when it's going to get into that, right, the cynical thinking, that's super jaded, like you cannot find the positivity in anything, the emotional exhaustion where mentally you can't handle it anymore, it's just too much. You're getting, you're seeping into, getting close to that depression line, if not even suffering from depression, and you're not able to the inefficiency, right? You're not able to produce like you can or you did. It's when you can't function. You're not able to get stuff done. There's no amount of money that's gonna solve that. Right, for volunteers, I found a thing that said that, like, basically, right, again, you're getting into that, you don't feel valued, you don't have direction, you feel undervalued, you don't have the passion and drive, you're just getting only negative feedback, you're being taken advantage of, right? There's so many things that can lead onto that. But again, there's literally no amount of money that can solve that. That is a very different situation. So I know you put lol at the end of that, but I'm gonna give you a real actual answer for that. Only if the money was on fire. I mean, I don't know that. if that having money on fire, I think you'd still end up with burnout. That's a funny visual though. So yeah, don't set money on fire. Yes, even $1 billion. Just Hey, Faye Wellen. Yeah. I'm tossing you all the coins. All the coins to my chancellor. Yeah. I guess pretty good. Again, any last minute questions? Go ahead and throw those out. What is this burnout you speak of? Coins don't burn. Is that why it's coins? I mean, that'd be fantastic. I mean, see, that's smart. You're always thinking. You're good at your job, and, you know, you got the experience. You just like, oh, how do we not deal with this? Just make it not burnable. Can't burn things that don't burn. Yeah, that's fair. It's good. It's good planning. Solid. Solid. Amazing. Right? I guess just sort of like another like sort of side note on that. Right? There's folks like right that can do stuff for long periods of time. And you'll notice that the work ethic, right, doesn't change. The effectiveness doesn't change, right? Folks like that, that's not burnout. That's, yeah. Gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I find a lot of folks will think that somebody's burning out if they just do stuff for long periods of time. There's, you know what helps? The support system of your team. Heck yeah. That's it. It really is. Like, dang, that's a thing. And, like, you'll notice it, too, from, like, for those of us that do a lot of Office, you're, like, when you have terms where you have a good team, like, oh my gosh, it's a pleasure to work. It's made so much easier on you mentally, when you have a good team. The communication's there, the workload is being distributed, folks are being productive, they're communicating well, and things are just, you know, you're clicking as a team and you're working well together. But like when you end up with a team where just they don't work well together, there's like, oh gosh, I've been in situations before where like where folks would like there's a lot. I've been in Office a very long time. Like I've had folks where they would like fight over doing the same job, like whose territory it was. I'd have officers at each other's throats, folks that just would sign up for the job and then just dip, and then like can't even get in communication with them dip, like actual like okay, we need to find a replacement. Also, does anyone even know where they are? Like, are they okay? They've dipped that badly. Yeah, it's very different when you have a team that works well together and a team that just is complete and utter dysfunctional, does not work. Especially like if you're Monarch and your team has an issue with you, like, oh god, nothing will get done. That gets messy. Team encouragement really helps. The Fog Bard, Admiral, that's me. Baron, Fewellen, Elias, Winjo, man, everyone I've been with has been super supportive. And I've been very lucky. Oh. Yeah, I mean, like, I gotta say, we are really, really dang lucky in the Nine Blades. Like, really, really dang lucky. I know not every kingdom is in that type of situation. That we have some real serious workhorses, and gosh darn, just genuine good people, and they just put in so much, and they're really amazing, positive people. I've worked with everyone on that list, and like legitimately good, solid folks, just solid folks. Man, team is everything. The team is everything. I think that's just like a genuine thing. Ending note. I'll end on this. Everything is a team thing. If you are working with an event, if you're an officer, just even you solo trying to get stuff done, understand that you're never alone. That there will always be that support team there if you reach out. Make bonds, make friends, fellow compatriots. Just reach out. Make sure that you've got that support mechanism. Whichever way you have it, right? It's important to not do it alone. Everything in this game can be done a lot easier and far more healthy and happy if you embrace the support mechanisms around you, if you create support mechanisms around you, and when stuff gets rough, to communicate, to get help when you need it, to vent if you need it, to get aid and assistance when you need it. So I'm gonna say the biggest thing is remember you're not alone. Remember that we have a huge, supportive, amazing, brilliant community. And remember just to reach out if you need it. We're here. Come find us. We got you. Okay. And on that, we will end tonight's session. Thank you so very much for coming. Everyone that's here right now in this moment, anyone that's watching this in the future, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, I really, really very much truly appreciate you. Thank you so much for giving me a point and purpose as a teacher. It really does mean the world to me. So thank you so very much for coming out and to watch the things that I'm throwing out here. Much love to you. Thank you. So this has been Burnout and Volunteer Fatigue. I've been Admiral and Cash. Look out for each other. Stay healthy and happy, and have yourself a good evening.